So in this video we are going to take a look at some more questions from irrigation engineering subject from the book R.S. Khurmi and Gupta, and here we are going to see question number 11 to question number 20. Okay, so the first question in front of us is irrigation is supplementary to rainfall, and we have to either agree or disagree with this statement. Now let's first see how this word supplementary is coming into picture. See, when we say we are providing artificial supply of water, means we say that we have made a provision of irrigation over there. Now in any area rainfall is always going to be there. Either it will be abundant, means sufficient for growth of crop, or it will be in trace amount, or let's say it will be scanty. We cannot totally rely on this kind of rainfall. Even if it is abundant but non-uniform, even if it trace or scanty, we cannot totally 100% rely on such rainfall. Then we need something else so that we can have a reliable source of water. That's why irrigation comes into picture, and we say it as it is supplementary to rainfall. We are not saying that it is the main reason for having cultivation or main reason of cash crop, or let's say any type of yield that you are going to have in your farm. Okay, that's why it is in addition to rainfall. Means whenever you are planning for crop in your farm, you are seeing this picture as rainfall plus irrigation. You have to depend on both these things. That's why when irrigation comes into picture, it is a supplementary factor to rainfall. That's why answer here is going to be A. Agree. We do agree with this thing. Irrigation is supplementary to rainfall. Alright, let's go to question number 12. Irrigation, fill in the blank, the chances of waterlogging. Okay, means we are looking at the dark side, or let's say disadvantage of irrigation here. Okay, whenever we are artificially inundating some area, whenever we are providing any natural resource in an artificial way to some area, and we are literally interfering with the natural balance of that area. And that's why when we say we are providing water in artificial manner, then there exists a possibility, a probability of waterlogging. Okay, marshy land may get produced over there, or let's say increase in humidity may be seen there, and this specific thing, exact specific thing, waterlogging will always have a probability where you are providing irrigation. That's why irrigation increases the chances of waterlogging. Yes, option is A, increases. Alright, then let's say question number 13. Irrigation is said to be the science of survival. Yes, right. When we say we want to have some yield of crop, we want to grow some crop, then we cannot totally depend on rainfall. What in case rainfall is not at all there? Then we will have to have some provision of artificial supply of water. That's why when we are doing this, in order to get some yield, in order to grow some crop, we are trying towards survival. Okay, we are aiming towards survival. We will grow crops, we will be able to eat, and that's why we will be able to survive. That's why irrigation is said to be the science of survival. Is not at all exaggeration, it is a true thing. That's why option A is correct here. Okay, irrigation, yes, indeed it is a science of survival. So question number 14 is a useful soil moisture for plant growth is, and we are given options as capillary water, gravitational water, and hygroscopic water. And the right answer may also be all of the above. Now let's see what capillary, gravitational, and hygroscopic water is. Hygroscopic water, let's say this is a soil sample that you took out from oven and you made sure that it is 100% dry. Now when you keep this sample in open atmosphere, then this completely dry soil mass is going to attract some amount of moisture from the humidity which is always present in the air. This attracted water toward the dry soil sample is called as hygroscopic water. All right, hygroscopic. Okay, then the capillary water. Whenever you pick a random soil sample, then you will observe that there are some tiny pores, tiny tubes, nanotubes, let's say. They can be microscopic or they can sometimes even be seen with naked eyes. These tubes are called as capillary. Okay, whenever you pour some amount of water, let's say in format of rainfall or irrigation, whatever you say, some amount of water will be held due to capillary tension in these nanotubes, or let's say capillaries only. Okay, and this water which is present in the capillaries of the soil of the land is useful for the plant growth, because roots can extract this water from these nanotubes in order to sustain, in order to grow. That's why the capillary water here is useful for growth of plant. That's why answer here is capillary water. Okay, the correct answer is capillary water. A useful soil moisture for plant growth is capillary water. It is not hygroscopic water, it is not gravitational water. What we saw about gravitational water is, let's say a piece of land is here, then some sort of drainage, let's say slope is provided, then you pour the soil completely with water, then with proper drainage, with proper slope, water will be escaping this piece of land, and this is happening only because of gravity. That's why it is called as gravitational water. Means a provision of drainage will make sure that this excess water, surplus water, leaves the piece of land, leaves the sample of land. And this gravitational water is also called as superfluous water. Okay, superfluous water. And this is not at all useful for the growth of plant. The only water, the only type of moisture which is useful for plants growth is the capillary water. All right, then the amount of water, question number 15, the amount of water required to fill up the pore spaces in soil particles by replacing all air held in pore spaces is called as, the amount of water we want to mention here, what kind of capacity it is, because see, in option A, B and C, all the three terms are saying some sort of capacity: filled, saturation or available capacity. See, it is called as saturation capacity. Okay, it is the saturation capacity. See, for example, again take a sample of soil or piece of land. Then let's say some nanotubes were present, as we are calling them capillaries. These capillaries will be having air in them. There, it is not vacuum or something. The capillaries will be for sure have air in them. Now, when water is coming into these tubes, into these capillaries, this air will be expelled out. Okay, the air is going to get expelled, and the space created will be then occupied by water. Water will get filled up here, and as soon as all these capillaries, all these tubes are filled up, we say that the soil is saturated. Means whatever the spores or let's say tubes, capillaries are there in the soil sample, once they get filled up with water, we say that the water particles have replaced the air, and now they have taken place of that air space, or let's say pores or capillaries. This capacity of water, this amount, this extent of water that the soil can hold is called as saturation capacity. Okay, let's go to question number next. Again, we are looking at some sort of capacity here. Now, the statement is the moisture content of soil after free drainage has removed most of the gravity water is called as, it is called as field capacity. We just saw what saturation capacity is. What is field capacity here? See, for example, a piece of land is here. The land is poured with large amount of water, let's say. Now, because of drainage, most of the water has left. In case proper drainage, or let's say some slope is provided, then most of the water, the excess water will flow away from the piece of land. Then some amount of water will still be there present inside the piece of land, inside the soil sample. That amount, that extent of water holding is called as field capacity of that land. Let's say when we say field capacity is literally belongs to farmland. Okay, field capacity of that farmland or that farm. Okay, then question number 17. Okay, so we are looking at question number 17, and it is saying the water content at which plants can no longer extract sufficient water from the soil for its growth is called. Is it field capacity, saturation capacity, permanent wilting point, or available moisture? See, the plants can extract water from the soil through its root when sufficient water is present in the capillaries or pores of the soil. Pores that are present inside the soil will be holding some amount of moisture in them. Then in case this moisture is not there, then the plant's root will not be able to sustain, because no water in the pores, no water in the capillaries, no extraction of moisture for its growth. That's why plants will be on the verge of death. Okay, this point, this specific point is called as permanent wilting point. The point at which the roots of plant will be unable to consume, to extract, to receive, to retrieve water from the capillaries or pores from the soil. Okay, see, when we say permanent wilting point, hygroscopic water will always be there, but this water is not at all useful for the growth of plant. That's why where we require water, in the capillaries or the pores. Okay, and if this water is not present, then plants are not going to survive. All right, the point is called as permanent wilting point. Question number 18. Available moisture may be defined as. Available moisture may be defined as moisture content at permanent wilting point. No, it is not. Maximum moisture holding capacity. No, it is not. That's why these options get ruled out. All of this is not the answer here. The answer is option B. Now let's see what option B is saying. Difference in water content of the soil between field capacity and permanent wilting point. See, when we say field capacity, it is the amount of water which gets left out even when gravitational water has left the field, and permanent wilting is the point where soil has no moisture in the pores to feed the plant. Okay, the difference of amount of moisture here is the useful moisture, is the available moisture for growth of plant. Okay, the water after field capacity and before wilting point is called as the available moisture, and plant can make use of this available moisture for its growth. Okay, that's why it is the difference in water content of the soil between field capacity and permanent wilting point. It is called as available moisture. All right, now let's see question number 19. The field capacity of the soil depends upon capillary tension in the soil. Yes, better the capillary tension property of the soil, more will be the field capacity. Then porosity of the soil. Yes, more the number of pores, more the capillaries, more the available spaces for retention of water in the soil, more will be the field capacity of soil. That's why, since option A and option B both are right, the most correct answer here is option D, both A and B. Either A it is good, or B they are saying, but we need this thing, and because A and B both are correct. Final question. Capillary water is a useful moisture for growth of the plant. Yes, we repeatedly have seen this thing. Capillary water is the available moisture for growth of plant. This is the water that the roots of plant can extract. Okay, so these were question number 11 to 20 from RSK, that is RS Khurmi and Gupta. We will see next 10 question in next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.